I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think I was going to be wearing this jersey this year, man. As you can see, Carolina Panther. Football is back, which means I got to do a prediction show. I got to run down some stuff that took place during the offseason. Of course, you know, can't have a show without talking about your team. You got to talk about your team, even if your team is not going to be real players in the game this year. But Tom Brady's in Tampa. He's in our division, the NFC South. We got Cam Newton. He's out of the South. He's now East in the AFC. Phillip Rivers now South in the AFC. We got Big Ben back. Of course, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. You got the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens. So many things that took place. We got a lot of stories, a lot of predictions to get into. I'm going to run down the teams I think will make the playoffs. I'm going to have you every team's record. Going to have the teams I think will meet in the conference championships, the Super Bowl. I got some dark horses. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Football is back, so just watch it, hear me out, and just see how my week 1 predictions match up, and just follow me all the way through the season to see where my predictions match up. Like I said, I got every team's record, and so it's definitely going to be really fun to see where I stack up with these teams. I want to give New England the benefit of the doubt because they are a proven team. Since the year 2000, they've had just one losing season, and that was the 2000 season. They've gone to the playoffs 17 times, never been a wild card. Each time they've won a division, they acquired, of course, Cam Newton in free agency, the former Carolina Panther. But they have 7 players that decided to opt out of the season due to COVID concerns. They were all defensive players. But for me, I still can't count them out because if there's one guy that can turn chicken salad or make chicken salad out of chicken, you know what, chicken poop, it's Bill Belichick. I got them regressing record-wise, and that's because, you know, Cam to me still isn't proven consistent-wise. Like, he'll have these good years. Remember his MVP season, but then we remember how he regressed a lot in 2016 after that MVP season. I think the Patriots will go 9-7, and the thing that I factor into this season is the 2008 season when it comes to Belichick, you know, without Tom Brady. That was the year Brady got injured, first game of the season, and Belichick was still able to lead the team to an 11-5 record with Matt Castle. The team missed the playoffs, but they still had an identical or same record. They still had an identical or better record than 7 teams in the NFL that year that made the playoffs. AFC and NFC. The Patriots either had the same record or better record. But that's the reason I give them credit, and I think that they'll still be an okay team, still be a good team. But Bill gets credit for still winning without Brady. Not winning a Super Bowl, of course, but having a winning record. So I'm going to give New England the benefit of the doubt here, and I got them going 9-7. I still think Belichick is capable until, you know, he proves me wrong. If he goes 7-9 or 6-10 or whatever this year, then the next year, whatever happens, I'll bet against New England. But I don't have them winning the division. I have the Buffalo Bills winning the division for the first time. You know, I think if they make the playoffs this year, it'll be the first back-to-back trip since the 98-99 season. Josh Allen now has Stephon Diggs to go along with his John Brown. Not to mention they finished third in defense last year. Sean McDermott, you know, really turned that organization around. McDermott, of course, former defensive coordinator for the Panthers. Bills did make the playoffs in 2017 under McDermott. I think that was his first year as the Bills head coach. I'm not too positive about that, but he's done wonderful things since he's been in Buffalo. And this Bill team is really stacked. They are favorites, and they should be favorites to win this division. I got them going 11-5. And then we have the Raiders, who are now in Vegas. The Las Vegas Raiders. Did y'all hear me? I said the Las Vegas Raiders, baby. And of course, the Raiders play my Panthers in the opener, and you know, I'm hearing some rumbles about them possibly making the playoffs. You know, of course, we got that extra playoff spot last year. This year, the 7th spot. But they have a really tough schedule, the Raiders. especially their first 5 games, after Carolina, which is a trap game for them because, Panthers, and we're going to get into this, new coach, new offensive and defensive coordinator. So Oakland, see, I'm not used to it. Vegas does not know what to expect from the Panthers in this opener, but outside of Carolina, they have the Saints, the Patriots, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bucks before they get to their bye week, and that schedule is just one I don't think they can overcome, especially if they lose to the rebuilding Panthers in the opener. But I don't think they can overcome this tough schedule, which could possibly leave them at 1-6 or 0-6. If they sleep on the Panthers. So I got the Raiders going just 8-8 this year. The Los Angeles Chargers, I'm finally used to that, not saying San Diego anymore. Phillip Rivers, not in the starting lineup. And it goes unnoticed about Rivers, but, we always praise Eli for being an Iron Man and never missing a game. But Rivers came into the league the exact same year as Eli Manning. Of course, we know that whole story about, Eli was supposed to be a Charger and Phillip was supposed to be a Giants, I think. But, he came into the league the same time as Eli, and he took over for Drew Brees. He started week 1, after Drew Brees left for the Saints of the 2006 season, and he never missed a game for the Chargers. Never, after getting the starting job. But anyway, now he will be succeeded by Tyrod Taylor for the time being. I don't think Taylor's the Chargers guy going forward. I think they're definitely looking for a quarterback for the future. But I think this roster is talented enough to where Taylor, he just got to do the same thing Rivers has to do in Indianapolis. Just be a game manager. I think if he do that, the Chargers can go 10-6, possibly get a playoff spot, or I think that'll be enough to get them a playoff spot. So yeah, that's why I got the Chargers finishing this year 10-6. And now we're at the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City. Of course, they just had that opening win against the Texans, fresh off a Super Bowl, fresh off Patrick Mahomes getting the biggest contract in sports history, 10 years, contract worth over $500 million. KC will not be having a Super Bowl hangover. They just beat down the Texans in the opener, and they won't be slowed down a single bit. They drafted Clyde Edwards, and this guy went off in the opener for 138 rushing yards and a touchdown. Just another weapon in the arsenal of the $500 million man, Patrick Mahomes. I got KC going 13-3. There's a lot. I can say a lot about this team. They're the best team in the AFC. There's no doubt about that. The Steelers, Ben is healthy for Pittsburgh, meaning the Steelers, they should be in the hunt again. Without Ben for the most part of 2019, the team still managed to go 8-8. And unless Roethlisberger has regressed, during the offseason, or from last year, then I still see the Steelers as a good team. I got them going 11-5. Baltimore stayed the same for the most part. Of course, they released Earl Thomas, and at the time of recording, I still don't think he's signed to a team. I don't know if he'll get on the team this year. Maybe Dallas. I think that's his greatest chance. Jerry always take a chance on. I don't think Earl Thomas haven't done anything criminal-wise, but Jerry always take a chance on people. And Earl Thomas is from Texas, and he's always wanted to be a Cowboy, so he'll probably go there. But this team is still highly favored to make a deep run in the AFC. They'll be a good team. Anything less than a trip to the AFC Championship game will be a disappointment, though, because they've graduated from just making the playoffs, just winning the division and just being there. The last 2 years they've been bounced out. The first playoff game they've played, of course, 2 years ago, Lamar Jackson, the MVP from last year, lost to the Chargers in the wild card round and then was upset big time by the Tennessee Titans in the divisional round. Ravens lost just 2 games early in the season to Kansas City and Cleveland back-to-back, and then they won out from there to go 14-2. I got them regressing by 2 games this year, going 12-4. I still think they'll win the division, but anything short of the AFC Championship game is a disappointment, so we'll see. And then we got the Indianapolis Colts. Phillip Rivers is now a Colt, guy who spent his entire career in one place and is now in an unfamiliar uniform, just like Tom Brady. You know, Indy is a team that I want to like so bad as contenders, but I'm just not sure what Rivers will look like. They have a talented roster, something I know Andrew Luck wished they could have put around him when he was there. Maybe he'd still be there and not retired so early, but anyway, they have 7 opponents on their schedule that made the playoffs last year, and I'm including Tennessee and Houston twice, of course, division opponents. But Rivers, he threw 20 interceptions in 2019 after finishing top 3, I believe, in the MVP race in 2018. And that season, 2018, was his best chance of getting a Super Bowl, but his team just wet the bed against New England and got blew out in a divisional round. But this Colts team, 79 last year with the roster that they have, which is a very talented roster. I wouldn't say underrated because people see the talent that the Colts have. And in order for the Colts to get over and make it to the playoffs at least, I think Rivers just, he just has to be an elite game manager. He just got to protect the football and just be really good at it. Do what Alex Smith did all those years in Kansas City. And I think the Colts can pull off a 9-7 record because they do have a tough schedule. Pull off a 9-7 record, and I think they can do that. I got the Colts going 9-7. The Texans didn't look impressive in that loss against Kansas City, but that's to be expected. No preseason, and the Chiefs are just head and shoulders better than them. Head and shoulders better than the majority of the teams in the NFL, if not all. We'll see about that though. It was the first game. It was against the defending champs. Deshaun Watson played okay. So I won't really, hold losing to the Chiefs against the Texans. But this team, just like the Ravens, I think they are above just being a wild card team and a divisional round making team. Anything short of the AFC Championship game is a failure. And because of the bold move that Bill O'Brien made during the offseason, I think that he should be on the hot seat. If he don't make it to the AFC Championship game, he needs to be really evaluated, possibly let go, because, like I said, that was a really bold move, letting DeAndre Hopkins go. Traded him to the Cardinals. I like them going 11-5 and winning the division. Deshaun Watson did get paid. He did get his contract. He have to live up to that. So not just Bill O'Brien, Deshaun Watson, anything less of the AFC Championship game appearance is a failure for him as well. So going to be a lot of eyes on the Texans in that regard. Of course, we believe they can make the playoffs. They just got to show us now that they can get to that next step. I got them going 11-5. The Philadelphia Eagles won the division last year. They'll be looking to make it to the playoffs for the 4th straight year and win the 3rd division title in the last 4 years. But they may run into a roadblock because Dallas may have something to say about that. We're going to get to that. But the Eagles, they just need to stay healthy. And if they can stay healthy, I think they'll be in the mix for a playoff spot. I got them going 10-6. All they have to do is stay healthy because they have the talent. They have what it takes, but it's the injury bug, the part about sports that we hate so much, the unfortunate injuries. And now we're at the Cowboys. Do not sleep on Dallas this year. Plus, my man Dak needs a new contract, so I'm definitely not sleeping on Dallas this year. I can see Dallas coming. And I think Dak, speaking of his contract, he's going to earn it this year. I really think he's going to be really good in that MVP mix. This is a very talented and hungry team. Like I said, man, they underachieved big time last year, going just 8-8. With Dallas, I look at it more so the coaching more than anything, because he just couldn't deliver. Jason Garrett, who's now the OC for the Giants, by the way. But now they have Mike McCarthy, who is much more suitable to coach a team like this and ascend them to just, greater heights that Garrett just couldn't get them. He had 1 year off, Mike McCarthy, after coaching Aaron Rodgers all those years, and of course he won a Super Bowl. And I think the Cowboys are finally primed to break through at this point. I think this is finally the year. The year for what, you may ask? We'll get to that later. But I got Dallas going 13-3. The Vikings are looking to make a major leap forward, by winning the division this time around, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just hyping them up. They traded away Diggs during the offseason. They still have a lot of talent on this team. It's just going to come down to if they can use it the right way. Can they win those key games in the big moment? Kirk Cousins, he did win against the Saints in the playoffs last year, his first ever postseason win. I want to say that they're going to have a winning season. They should still be respectable, but I don't think they'll be respectable enough to make the playoffs again. I think a lot of teams just leaped over them, and they'll just be a mediocre 8 up, 8 down, 8-8 team. That's where I see the Vikings. The Packers drafted Jordan Love straight out of Bakersfield, represent. But I don't think this season is going to cause, drama for Aaron Rodgers because they drafted a quarterback in terms of, situation to where he's playing bad and now he has to look over his shoulders and see if the rookie quarterback Jordan Love is warming up to take his spot. I don't think that's going to be the case with Rodgers. Green Bay went 13-3 last year. They were beat down, stumped out, annihilated by the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. It was a really quiet, really sneaky 13-3, if you ask me. Like, they were winning, but we always felt like, something was missing with this team. Not too many people really took them serious, and it's weird not to take a 13-3 team serious as a real threat to win a Super Bowl. I do think the days of Aaron Rodgers, of the Packers just having Rodgers, those days are gone. They need others to contribute. They need a bigger running game, some good defense, because if not, I think they'll definitely, be going home, after the first playoff game. I do got the Packers going 11-5 this year. And speaking of the Panthers, they do have a new head coach in Matt Rule, fresh out of college, coming from Baylor, with also a new OC and a new DC, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Spent all 7 of the team's draft picks on defensive players, which tells me that he's ready to do some things with this offense, that he believes in it. He believes that there's something about it that he can unlock that Ron Rivera couldn't. So we'll see. I do think this team is in a rebuilding process. Christian McCaffrey so far been to the playoffs once, so I want the Panthers to really get this thing going so that we can be an elite team and a real player in the NFC. But I do have the Panthers going just 6-10. They went 5-11 last year. I hate to say it, but I don't think they're going to be. I think they're going to be rebuilding, and they're in probably the toughest, one of the toughest divisions in football. Definitely in NFC, and just the NFC conference in general is just really tough. So I don't want to spend too much time on this. It's depressing. I got the Panthers going just 6-10. New Orleans Saints. Saints got Michael Thomas some big time help. Team went out and signed free agent Emmanuel Sanders, who of course was with the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl last year, and he joined them in a trade. But a lot of this will also depend on, the Saints' success on Alvin Kamara, and if he can, I know he just signed a new 5-year contract, but it depends on if he can return, to form, because he really didn't have a good season last year. Had just 797 yards, missed just a couple games if I'm not mistaken, and he had just 5 rushing touchdowns after having 14 the prior year in 2018. This team is really loaded, really, really loaded. But my biggest but is okay, I'm so childish. Anyway, I think Drew Brees is on a decline. And say what you want, but Brees did not have a good game against the Vikings last year. Just 208 yards on 26 completions at home in the Dome, where their fans get crazy and rowdy for that team. That's not very Drew-like. He's definitely on the decline, but Drew's a good quarterback, and I keep harking back to it. He just have to be what Phillip Rivers have to be and what Tyrod Taylor have to be with the Chargers. Just if he is on the decline, he just have to be a really good game manager, and he's smart enough to do so. Just like, probably Tom Brady at his advanced age. I think the Saints will still be good because this team is loaded, and this is definitely, I think, Drew Brees' last chance to get a Super Bowl. This is probably, I won't say definitely, This is probably his last chance to get a Super Bowl. 3 straight years of heartbreak in the playoffs. At what point are they going to get over? At what point will the 4th time be the charm? I got the Saints going 11-5. And now we're at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Man. It's amazing how one player can turn an entire franchise around without even playing a single game. Tampa Bay is now Tampa Bay. And this team now have 5 national televised games. Where do I even start with this team? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look at that. They knew what they were doing when Tom went to the Tampa Bay. They knew they could market that. Tampa Bay. But anyway, Tampa Bay is now Tampa Bay, and he brought a friend with him. He brought Rob Gronkowski with him. Gronkowski, of course, took a year off. Now he's back in the NFL after his short, abbreviated, brief, condensed little stint with the WWE. Gronk is back, and I still don't know how the Tampa Bay pulled that off. You know, of course, because Rob retired a Patriot, he was still under contract with them if he ever came out of retirement. And came out of retirement, he did, and somehow the Bucs were able to trade for him, and the Patriots allowed it. But so we got Rob with him, and man, this team is just loaded. They are a loaded football team. When it comes to, you know, Tampa Bay, you know, I think this team is going to be great. I think they're going to be a really great team. You know, it's crazy how a lot of people do doubt this team, and that doubt, surprisingly, is because of Tom Brady. You know, a lot of people don't believe in Tom Brady because he's like 43, 45,000, however old he is now. But until he shows that 2015 Peyton Manning drop-off, I'm still not going to count him out, because he's great at throwing out of the backfield, and look what he has now. He got two running weapons that are, you know, capable of catching out of the backfield and capable of playing the receiver position. Fournette had 76 catches last year with 522 yards. Didn't have a touchdown, but I'm sure that'll change under Brady. And then you got Shady McCoy, another one that can catch out of the backfield. He had like 503 catches in his 11-year career. We know what Gronkowski is capable of, and he had a year off the heels, so he'll be straight, ready to go. Now he got Mike Evans, who had over 1,100 yards last season, 3-time Pro Bowler. He also have Chris Godwin, who had over 1,300 yards and made the Pro Bowl last year. And we can't sleep on the 5th-round rookie, Tyler Johnson. This is a guy that had over 1,300 yards last season with the University of Minnesota, coming fresh out of college, and 1,100 yards the year before that. So he's going to be a really sneaky threat for the Patriots. See, I cannot help myself. I'm not used to it. I'm not. Anyway, I don't want to keep getting off the beaten path. And also Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard. You know, Tom Brady didn't have a good year last year, you know, a great year last year with the nameless receivers that he had, but this guy can do some stuff with the toys he has now. He got a lot of toys to play with. He's like a little spoiled kid, man, who just got all the toys. He got it all, man. I don't even know what to say about this, but this team is loaded. I don't care if Tom is 137 years old. I do not care how old he is. Until he showed that 2015 Peyton Manning drop-off, I am not counting Tom Brady out. They also have an offensive line that was ranked 7th in the league last year. And look, all Jameis Winston had to do was not mess this up. If Jameis could throw 30 touchdowns with over 5,000 yards, Brady is much more seasoned. He's a much more seasoned guy. Pretty sure he can throw 40 touchdowns for at least 4,500 yards, if not 5,000. All Jameis had to do last year was not mess this up. That's all. Because he showed flashes. The team showed flashes. They were 7-7 at one point after 14 games. And then they finished 7-9. Defense overall was just in the middle of the pack, which is respectable, ranking 15. But with the offense that they have and with the capability this offense have, I'm guessing it'll inspire the Bucs defense to kick it up a notch and be better than 15th. And I know y'all thinking probably, hey, this guy's heaping so much praise on the Bucs. Why not just pick them to go 16-0? No, they'll go 13-3. But I just really like Tom Brady, and I really like what he have around him. Because if he can't get it done with this, then he's done. There's no reason for him to come back. He's done. This was a failure, and he should just go away. I just hate the fact that this man had to just come out to the NFC South. He did not have to do that. Anyway, I got the Bucs going 13-3. Seahawks signed Jamal Adams, and they needed him in the secondary because we are, really far from the days of the Legion of Boom, which was once the strength of the Seahawks defense. Last year, I think they improved from being ranked 31st in the NFL. Their secondary, in 2018, their secondary was ranked 31st in NFL. Last year, they were probably somewhere in the middle of the pack. So this secondary, they definitely needed some reinforcement in Jamal Adams. He'll definitely give them some help in that area. 2-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro with the Jets. But all in all, it's just hard to bank against this team. Wilson definitely lived up to his contract last year, finished second in the MVP race with over 4,100 yards passing, 31 touchdowns. On a team that, a lot of people didn't think was very good outside of Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson, he's more than proven that, he's the type of player that can carry a bad team. And Pete Carroll's not, I know a lot of people have been down on Carroll since that Super Bowl against New England 5 years ago, but Pete Carroll's still a really good coach, and they're still yet to have a losing season. Probably missed the playoffs once since Pete Carroll took over. I think the first year they didn't have a good season, but yeah, they missed the playoffs probably once since Russell Wilson, I should say. Russell Wilson. But a late season loss last year caused them to miss out on winning the NFC West, and then they had to go and play in a division championship game against the Niners, in which they lost. I still think they'll be good enough this year, but they won't win the division, and they won't be in a situation where they're playing for the division. I got Seattle going 10-6. 49ers looking to avoid that Super Bowl hangover. Team was 4-12 in 2018, and they flipped that record around last year, going 12-4. No, they went 13-3 last year. They went 13-3 last year. Made it all the way to the Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but they shocked a lot of teams last year. The Niners did. They weren't on anyone's radar, including myself, to be that good until pretty much they forced me to pay attention to them. I think it was before. When was it? It was right before. It was a game against the Rams. After they were 5-0 or 6-0 or something like that. And it wasn't quite a shootout, but they destroyed the Rams. They won that game 20-7. Goff had probably about 78 yards. And again, they made Jared Goff look very ordinary in that game. A couple weeks after that, they dropped 51 on my Panthers. And that song was just, that game was just, that's a nightmare for me to relive. Anyway, they made me a believer after that game. But going back to that Super Bowl hangover, they definitely have the right three opponents to try and prevent that, having that Super Bowl hangover. Their first three opponents, I should say, they got Arizona and they have both New York teams. So if they can get through that and be 3-0, they'll definitely have some confidence to make another run. Deebo Samuel, last time I read, he was ruled out for the game against the Cardinals. And I also wanted to mention, of course, we got the fires in California. I don't think that the game is being called off or anything. That opener against Arizona is in Santa Clara, home game. The A's are still playing, but the air quality is not that good. So I know that's going to be taken into consideration, later on, if not, before, the game happens at the time of recording this. With the exception of their tackle, DeFrost Bunker, who was traded to Indy, the core on defense still pretty much intact. Offense, they lost Emmanuel Sanders to New Orleans, but looking at this Niner team, there's no reason this team can't continue to compete and win a division. I got them winning division. They'll go 12-4 this year, and I still think they're going to win a division. So now we're going to do our 2020 playoff predictions, the Reed Report 2020 NFL playoff predictions. We're going to start in the AFC. Last year, we had the Ravens, of course, who were the number 1 seed. The Chiefs were the 2 seed. Patriots were the 3 seed. Houston was a 4 seed. That's the only thing I think is going to stay the same this year. This year, I got Kansas City with the 1 seed. They'll get the bye week. Of course, we have that 7th playoff spot this year. So only one team get a bye week, and that will be the Kansas City Chiefs. Ravens, I got them at 12-4. They'll be the 2 seed. I got the Bills finishing 11-5 as the 3 seed. Texans will stay the same from last year. They'll be the 4 seed. I got the Steelers getting in this year as a team that missed out last year. They'll be the 5 seed. Patriots, I still think they're going to get in. I still got New England getting in. I think they'll be the 6th seed. They won't be the Patriots of old. They will be a wild card for the first time under Bill Belichick. They will be the 6th seed at 9-7. And I think Phillip Rivers is going to get the Colts in. They're going to get into that last spot as a 7th seed. Those are my teams who I think will be in the playoffs. And let's get to the dark horse playoff team. Watch out for the Browns. I think they, they were a major disappointment last year. I'm not 100% sold on Indy, but I still think Rivers and that roster, will be enough to overcome the Diva Browns. First-time head coach Kevin Stefanski. Is that his name? Stefanski? The guy coming out of nowhere, just like Sean McVay did. No one really knows him, so you don't know what to expect from him. You don't know what type of looks he's going to throw at you. He was a Viking. He was in the Vikings organization since 2006. He was like 24 years of age when he came into the NFL. And now he's 38 years young. Started as assistant to the head coach, just like, not assistant head coach, assistant to the head coach, like the white Shrew from The Office. You guys get it. Anyway, assistant to the head coach, and then, he moved up. He was the quarterback coach, tight ends coach, running back coach, quarterback coach. No, he was assistant quarterback coach. Then he was the tight ends coach. Then he was a running backs coach. And then last year he was a quarterback. I mean, this guy just worked his way up for real. You can't take anything away from this guy. He really worked his way up to a good position. He really earned his head coaching position last year. Or 2018, he became the interim offensive coordinator for the Vikings before getting it full time. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator, and now he's the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland's still on paper a very talented team. If they do make it, it'll be the first time they make the playoffs since 2002. I got the Browns as my dark horse playoff team. I think they will be the team, who may shock some people and get in. I think they're going to watch out for the Browns. That's all I'm going to say. Watch out for the Browns. It's hard to pick a dark horse in the to come out of the AFC because I don't see any team beating the Kansas City Chiefs if they're healthy. If they are, if they are healthy enough to where, you look at them and say, okay, they should, even though they lost this guy, they should still make it to the Super Bowl. Of course, if they lost Mahomes for any reason, they ain't going to no Super Bowl. But it's hard to pick a dark horse. Baltimore doesn't really count because, we can see them coming. We know they're a really good team. They're a great team. But a team that I think everyone should be on alert and on the lookout for are the New England Patriots. Yep, because of their coach. It's simple. They were supposed to, have this drop off after losing the Super Bowl to the Eagles a few years ago, but they were still able to go all the way and beat the Rams. And it was strictly because of their defense, and that's what Belichick is known for, a great defense. Again, yes, they have a lot of people that opted out, but if anybody can make chicken salad out of chicken poop, it's Bill Belichick. This man, I cannot doubt him until I physically see that he cannot do it anymore. I think we're getting to that point with, Greg Popovich in the NBA probably. But until I see that Bill Belichick can't coach anymore without Tom Brady, I'm not counting him out. So watch out for the Patriots to come out of the AFC as a dark horse. I don't think they'll make it, but if anyone surprises you, it'll be them. I got the Patriots. And now we have the AFC Championship game. I think, it's a safe pick that I'm predicting, but I think it's going to be the Ravens and the Chiefs. They will meet in the AFC title game like a lot of us expected them to do last season. And I just think KC is the better team, man. I think they're just, better than pretty much every team in the NFL, especially with my homie Patrick. They're just too good. They have too many weapons around him. Too much. As cliche as it is to say, injury is the only team that can stop the Kansas City Chiefs, to be honest. Injuries. Team injury. If you pay a guy a contract worth over $500 million, you know something. You know he's special. You know that he is your guy and he's the best in the league. There's nobody that's better than him. I like Lamar. I'm rooting for them to pull one out, but there's another level he's going to have to get to in order to get over Patrick Mahomes. So I got the Chiefs coming out of the AFC, representing the Super Bowl again. But the question now is, who will they face? Last year in the NFC, you had, let's see where they at. You had the 49ers who were the 1 seed. Packers were the 3 seed. Packers were the 2 seed. Saints were the 3 seed. Philly was the 4 seed. Seattle and Minnesota grabbed the wild card spots. This year, I like the Cowboys to be the 1 seed at 13-3. I got the Buccaneers as the 2 seed at 13-3. I think the Cowboys will win the 1 seed over Tampa Bay because they play in a weaker division. That's where Dallas will get the 1 seed at. 49ers, they'll be the 3 seed at 12-4. I got Packers at 11-5 as the 4 seed. Saints will be the 5 seed at 11-5. Eagles, I got them at 10-6, along with Seattle, 7 seed, 10-6. This is the part where it gets tricky and confusing for a lot of you, because I am going to give you my dark horse playoff team for the NFC, Panthers. And listen, hear me out on this. Hear me out. Before you start going crazy, hear me out. I know I've been joking a lot, but I'm serious. I think the Panthers will be, or they are my dark horse team to make the playoffs in the NFC. And I know you're thinking, how can you have a team going 6-10, but be a dark horse to be in the playoffs? It's a good question. It's a legit question. But again, they have a new coach that no one knows. He's going to throw a bunch of looks. You don't know his tendencies. Just like Sean McVay 2017 caught everybody off guard. Matt Rule used all of his picks on defensive guys, which means he sees something in that offense that Ron Rivera just couldn't get through. I know it's a long shot, but even when you consider the teams that I don't have in the playoffs, like Minnesota, Chicago, Atlanta, LA, Arizona, are the Panthers better than these teams? No. But you know what you're going to get from them. And plus, just in case I don't have the Panthers in, I can always say that I had them as my dark horse. No, I'm just playing, but I'm going to call Matt Rule's bluff and see, what he got cooking for this team. Not saying the Panthers will make it, but I'm just saying, man, pay a little attention to them. You can sleep on them, just don't snore. And now my dark horse team to make it out of the NFC and represent the conference in the Super Bowl. Saints, Niners, Bucks, Cowboys, making the Super Bowl would not be a shock to anyone. But the Packers making it would be a shock because Rodgers is now, like I said, past that prime of being able to carry this team when he doesn't have enough help. They are not better than the 4 teams I just named. Saints, 49ers, Bucks, and Cowboys. They're not better than those teams. But they are my dark horse. I would say look out for Green Bay. They were so close last year, not in terms of the gameplay. They got beat down by the Niners, but they were 1 game away last year. And a lot of people sleeping on the Packers because of, Tom joining and how loaded New Orleans is, and, you know, the 49ers, and then the Cowboys, of course, but no one is looking at the Packers. No eyes on them, no pressure. Look out for the Packers. They're my dark horse pick to come out of the NFC. For the NFC Championship game, this conference is so loaded, man. It wouldn't shock me if any of those top teams came out of the NFC to represent in the Super Bowl. But I got Tampa Bay versus Dallas. Hear me out. Dallas cannot always be an accident waiting to happen. You know, they were never going to get over with Jason Garrett. It just wasn't going to happen. He didn't have it in him to get the team to the next level. But they have a guy now who's just, you know, they have a guy, Mike McCarthy, who knows offense better than Garrett. He knows this. He's already a Super Bowl champion with Aaron Rodgers, and the talent he have on this roster, you know, it's tailored to just take that next step. If not now, then when? Because Dallas is going to always have a talented team. They're the Cowboys. They don't always win, but they always have the talent to where they should win. Not to mention they have Andy Dalton as Dak's backup. Marvin Lewis couldn't get over with Andy Dalton in the playoffs, but sometimes you just need a change of scenery. If you ask Andy Reid, he can be a great witness to that. Went to like 6 conference championship games with Philly, can never win the big one. Took him 7 years in Kansas City, but he finally did it. I think the Cowboys are primed to shock everyone this season. And it starts when they make it to the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1995. Tom and company, they'll have a great season, but Dallas's defense, I think, will be, of course, with the offensive line and just the offensive in general will be enough to overcome the Bucs, and that will set the Cowboys up on a date in Tampa Bay, which is where the Super Bowl will be, with the Kansas City Chiefs. I got the Cowboys coming out of the NFC this year, defeating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So we got the Cowboys versus the Chiefs in Super Bowl 55 in Tampa Bay, Florida. Dallas will make it to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 25 years, and I also think that they are going to win the Super Bowl for the first time in 25 years. I got the Cowboys over the Chiefs. When it comes to KC, I think it's going to come down to, just all season long with any of their opponents. If you punt the ball, you're pretty much going to lose the game. Just like, in years past, field goals would not beat the Patriots. Punting the ball and kicking field goals will not beat the Chiefs. Dallas defense, I think, will come up with a huge stop in the Super Bowl. And I just think it'll capture the franchise's 6th title. I think it'll be title number 6. The 6th title for Dallas. So I got Dallas, and if you want to score, I'll just give you a score and I'll set it in stone. I got the Cowboys over the Chiefs, 45-38. That is my pick. I'm sticking with it. Super Bowl 55, Cowboys versus Chiefs. So that was the Reed Report. Thank you guys for hearing me out. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you didn't like it, whatever. Please leave a comment, a negative, positive. I don't care. Just react to the video. I really appreciate it. Trying to provide as much, content as I can with what I have at the moment. So I appreciate you guys. Let's watch some football, week 1 of the NFL. See how my predictions do. Comment on what your predictions are on who you think is going to win the Super Bowl, meet in the conference championship, go to, win divisions and all that. Just tell me what you guys think. I appreciate you guys, and until next time,